But let's of course start with this big story from the United States of America, where the US Congress has approved a bill ordering for the release of the federal files on the disgraced financier and the sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. Now, this came after the American President Donald Trump made an abrupt U-turn after having earlier pushed back against their release. After Donald Trump's go-ahead, the US House of Representatives had voted overwhelmingly for the Justice Department to release all the files related to Jeffrey Epstein. Now, 427 votes were cast in favor with one lone dissenter. The US Senate agreed to rubber stamp and then bounce the text straight to the White House without a vote as soon as it arrived from the lower chamber.
For the Senate to pass the Epstein bill as soon as it comes over from the House. I yield the floor.
Now, Trump said on Tuesday that he will sign the bill as soon as it reaches its desk. He was forced to back down from his earlier very combative stance against their release. And this is reportedly because of the overwhelming pressure from the public. Now, Marjorie Taylor Greene was amongst the Republican members of the Congress who joined hands with the Democrats to push for the release of the Epstein files. Now, Trump even retracted his endorsement of her, saying that he might now back a challenger for her seat during the next year's midterms. But in the end, Donald Trump decided to tell all Republicans to vote for the release of the Epstein files. However, Marjorie Taylor Greene has warned that the battle is not over yet.
I was called a traitor by a man that I fought for 6 years for. And I gave him my loyalty for free. I won my first election without his endorsement, beating 8 men in a primary. And I've never owed him anything, but I fought for him for the policies and for America first. And he called me a traitor for standing with these women and refusing to take my name off the discharge petition.
But here's where things get interesting. There is a clause in the bill that has been passed by the Congress. If the Department of Justice, that is under Bondi, is investigating something that is related to Epstein, then they can block the release of everything that is deemed evidence in the ongoing probe. And this gives the Attorney General Pam Bondi the ability to redact or withhold certain files. Now, Trump had recently asked the Justice Department to investigate into Epstein's alleged links to the Democrats and to major banks. The subpoenas have been issued to the Deutsche Bank and JP Morgan Chase for Epstein's financial records. The probe into the banks is a major operation. A House Oversight Committee is now investigating the potential failures by law enforcement and financial institutions to act on the red flags tied to Epstein's alleged operations that include whether banks effectively monitored or flagged suspicious transactions and whether the prosecutors and also the regulatory bodies had followed through on the leads. And this development matters for several reasons. Now, firstly, it signals the investigation is shifting from mere document collection directly pursuing the money trail. The financial ledgers may illuminate the previously hidden links between Jeffrey Epstein and his network. And second, it also raises pressure on the banks and the regulators to account for their role in managing. And thirdly, it also keeps alive the possibility that new names and transactions or patterns could emerge in this very high-profile case of sex trafficking.